I was going to say now we're at 15:31. We've got quite a lot to get through, so I think it'd be best if we began and we can continue to let people into the meeting as we go. So to kick things off, first, Yuri, I'd love to hand over to you to begin.
Josh, thank you very much. First of all, hello everyone. I'm Yuri, I'm CEO and founder of Hermesnet. Thanks for your interest in Hermesnet and your time joining us today. Of course, thank you for submitting your questions. We've received quite a lot of interesting questions from you about our company, about ESG and sustainability, about our business updates, about our technology, about our traction, about our revenue, and of course about upcoming Crowdcube campaign and many more interesting questions. And today we will dedicate most of our session time answering your questions, updating you on our business development, explaining how our team's experience helped to grow Hermesnet. And without further delays, I want to introduce Joshua. He's our head of ESG and sustainability, and he will be moderating the panel. Joshua?
Thanks, Yuri, and welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today. And thanks also to everybody who submitted questions in advance. So we received lots of questions and we'll be running through all of those pre-submitted during the course of this webinar. I'd just like to say that there are a lot of overlap between the questions submitted. So while we may not say your specific question out loud, we'll make sure that the answers to every question submitted are covered in those. We're aiming to wrap things up in about 30 minutes. We are available to stay online longer than that if there are other further questions. As Yuri said, this recording will be shared online afterwards, and we'll write a summary of the session to post on our Crowdcube and elsewhere as well for everybody. So to begin, I'm just going to introduce myself. As Yuri said, I'm head of ESG at Hermesnet. I spent my career working in ESG and sustainability. I'll talk a bit more about some of that later on in the presentation when we get into the specifics of what it is that Hermesnet does for our clients and what our product offers. I'm just going to give my two colleagues, Mark and first Evgeny, the chance to introduce themselves. So Evgeny, over to you to introduce yourself briefly.
Well, thank you, Josh. I am Dr. Evgeny Kunz, Managing Director and Chief ESG Business Development Officer. I am responsible for the company's business growth, for all business development activities, and for working with partners and clients. In the past, I was holding different executive management positions in fintechs, financial services, and professional services. I have a doctorate in business administration, specializing in strategic planning. And over to Mark.
Mark, you are muted. You're still muted, Mark.
Thank you very much, everyone, and apologies for that early mock-up as well. We rehearsed many times. Thanks very much for coming along. Thank you for everyone who has submitted questions. I know Josh mentioned that. My name is Mark Cowley, founder, managing director of Hermesnet. In fact, I've been with the company, Yuri, since inception, over 2 years now. We've traveled a long road, but we believe that the road is a lot further to travel. My background is from Australia, qualified as an accountant, fellow CPA, and studied accountancy at university. I came to the UK a number of years ago, and for the last 25 plus years, I've been solely involved in the capital markets, investment banking, focusing on the Eastern European equity markets. Basically, over the last 2 or 3 years, I've been transitioning into venture capital tech startups out of Eastern Europe, obviously concentrating full-time with Hermesnet, building a brand, and also do some voluntary work related to ESG and sustainability, and that is with the Emerging Markets Investors Alliance, sustainability and ESG in emerging markets. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Evgeny. We'll come back to you over the course of the webinar with some further questions, but the first question we have is for you, Yuri. So for everybody joining today who is not familiar with Hermesnet, please could you describe our company and its areas of business focus, and also explain what your vision for the future of this company is?
Sure. Thank you very much for the question. Well, sustainability and ESG is a paramount concern for organizations across the globe right now, as you know. And our mission is to help our clients to enhance their ESG data management to maximize their impact. And at Hermesnet, we streamline ESG and sustainability data collection, calculation, and reporting through an intelligent software as a service platform. Actually, Hermesnet, it's a software as a service platform. We established Hermesnet in 2021 with a vision to automate private equity markets ESG data management. However, having rapid and strong demand from corporations and professional services firms, we refocused on ESG, and we refocused on ESG reporting and data management. And it opened quite a huge 14 billion market for us, which is growing very fast, around 21% per year. And we've developed a customizable ESG and sustainability data management and reporting solution, which is cost effective, easy to integrate. And we utilize artificial intelligence and blockchain to help our customers to automate a lot of manual tasks, as well as to bring all their ESG and sustainability data into one place, creating single source of ESG and sustainability data trust on blockchain. In terms of future, with so many organizations right now on their journey to implement and embed sustainability into their businesses, environmental, social, or so-called ESG issues are more important than ever before. A company's success in achieving sustainability is highly dependent upon how they work with ESG and sustainability data. But here's the problem. Many organizations collect so much information so that they don't know what actually to do with this information. And when it comes to manipulating, organizing, structuring this data, it leads to another problem. Managing this vast amount of ESG data, it's a low value and in most cases manual, time-consuming process. And we help our customers to deal with that. And our view that the ESG space is still a blue ocean for companies and investors, one of the fastest growing sector in the world, driven by digitalization and transition to low carbon economy. And we would be delighted if you would join us to help us to achieve our goal to be successful ESG global provider.
Thanks a lot, Yuri. And we completed a pre-seed funding round last year via Crowdcube and with some anchor investors. Could you describe the progress made and the milestones that we've reached since that funding round closed?
Yeah, sure. I think it's a very important question, and I'm glad to share our story with our audience because this is what a lot of people asked about. Our last raise enabled us to launch our product. Currently, we offer customers a full support in their ESG and sustainability journey, starting from framework selection, followed by data collection, aggregation, visualization, PDF report configuration, and data sharing. Currently, we support several widely adopted frameworks. Probably heard about them. They are Global Reporting Initiative, GRI, and GSGP, which stands for Greenhouse Gas Protocol. And we are continually adding new ones. We have secured our first paying customers. We generated over 100,000 pounds in actual revenue from these customers. And we also pre-committed 240,000 pounds in revenue from another bunch of customers. And we are working to turn this from pre-committed revenue to actual revenue. And we plan to that it will happen soon. A good news that among these pre-committed bunch of customers quite a lot of interesting projects. For example, currently we're doing pilot projects with one multinational company which is publicly traded. One of them, an infrastructure development fund backed by several national banks. Another one, an Italian certification authority, and a number of other prominent players. In addition to this, we've got and generated around 200 leads, which expressed a strong interest in our solution. Among them, I want to highlight professional services firms drawn by our white label solution. And we believe that this collaboration shortly will result in a significant acceleration in our revenue growth. And of course, we've done this because of our team efforts. And since our last raise, we extended and strengthened our team and expanded it from initial founders to a full-time 10 people, including sales and business development team, ESG and technology teams. On top of it, plus 7 dedicated software engineers and 3 freelancers, which are helping us with important tasks like marketing and other tasks. And our goal is to continue improving our platform technological capabilities as well as onboarding new customers.
Thanks a lot, Yuri. I've got one more question for you right now before we open it up a bit more to some other areas of business. But you did mention that we are launching another funding round. Could you just explain what the milestones we're intending to reach based on closing this funding round are?
Yeah, sure. And I think this is another important question, which a lot of people asked us about. And this is related, of course, to our most important KPIs, which are linked to business development and tied to our product development. And I want to start with short explanation of our KPIs tied to product development and update you on our plans for the next 6 months. And I want to start with sharing the news that we are planning to launch our version 2.0 of our platform. It's going to be an updated version. And in particular, this launch will include, first, platform improved UI UX redesign, making it more modern and easier to navigate to our users. 2, we're launching version 2.0 of our GRI reporting functionality, and it will enable our customers to perform materiality assessment in accordance with GRI and prepare reports following different level of compliance with GRI. We're launching version 2.0 of our GHG emission calculator, which will enable our customers to utilize CDP, GHGP, and UNFCCC frameworks. I know that this is a soup of alphabet, and I think Josh will explain later what does it mean. This will enable our users to go through the emission inventory process, prepare data collection workspaces, automate data collection, integrate different conversion factors, calculate emissions in real time, visualize this data, track different metrics, and prepare reports, and as well as sharing the data internally as well as externally. Also, we are preparing specific packages for each emerging ESG regulations, focusing initially on the UK and EU. This covers, for example, CSRD, TCFD, SFDR, and the EU taxonomy. Once again, a lot of different abbreviations, and Josh will describe what does mean later on, because one bunch of questions related to this. Yeah, and these regulations are very important, and they are new requirements for different sorts of businesses to make their non-financial disclosures. And more long-term product development plans are to improve our artificial intelligence functionalities as well as blockchain capabilities. And in terms of our business development, we have set quite ambitious but realistic goals for us, and our target based on the momentum we've reached right now, and we aim to get 150 active customers by 2024 and 1,800 by 2027, and we are planning to reach break even in 2024.
Thanks a lot, Yuri, for that. I'm going to take the next question because it's specifically related to ESG. So the question is, why is now a good time for your startup to enter the market? Well, it's a very exciting time right now to be involved in ESG. I've spent my whole career, so over a dozen years, working in this space as a consultant to leading organizations. So this is before sustainability became one of the hottest topics on the business agenda. And one of the most important and exciting shifts that you've seen recently, and a trend that is definitely set to continue, is the move from voluntary non-financial disclosures, so voluntary sustainability reporting, to mandatory disclosures because of new regulation legislation that's coming in. So this means that a large and rapidly growing pool of companies across sectors, across geographies, are now or very soon will be mandated to report on environmental information, including greenhouse gas emissions, waste, and pollution, alongside data on social and governance factors related to their business. And I like to see this in a similar light to the standardization of financial accounting and disclosures in the last century, which enabled better comparison of businesses for investors and other types of stakeholders. So across the UK, the EU and beyond, as Yuri mentioned, this alphabet soup of regulations, CSRD, TCFD, SFDR, etc. Tens of thousands, and I can explain those in more detail if people are interested, what each one entails, but tens of thousands of companies will be required to collect this ESG information from across their organizations. And they're looking for expertise, they're looking for professional services, and they're looking for software that will help them approach sustainability in a manner that fits with their vision for ESG. And that's exactly what we, Hermesnet, are here to do. We're here to help them do just that. So the next question we have, and I'll ask this to you, Evgeny. So what is your approach to business development? How and where are you finding customers?
Thank you, George. This is a very interesting question. And we have implemented a robust strategic management process for our business development. In particular, we are concentrating on 3 core activities: clients, partner, and product development. And in product development, we have to make sure that our product is the best on the market. And our channels of sourcing the clients are networking and personal introductions. But our sales process also includes working with people in businesses who are responsible for ESG issues. And we are also building quite strong sales momentum in being visible to the whole ESG community through participating in conferences, seminars, and different events. We provide expert opinion on ESG topics, publish articles and papers, and we pay great attention to working with agents and partners who support our sales and distribution efforts.
Thanks, Evgeny. And a follow-on question to that, can we describe the partner ecosystem? How is this helping us to drive our growth?
Well, as I already mentioned, building partnership network is the one of the 3 main strategic pillars for us. We are building Hermesnet partner ecosystem that consists of simple agency distribution in a selected geography or sophisticated technology partnership where our partners use our white label solution, which is specifically customized for their needs. Well, I can give you specific examples of how partners drive our growth. For example, distribution and support partner bring our ESG platform to a selected clientele or specific geography. And recently, we have concluded partnership agreement with Italian company who is distributing our solution in Italy. Perfect example of organic growth in selected geography. And for example, our advisory partners may use our solution for automating their processes and producing reports for their clients, and as well as for data gathering from their clients. For example, if the consultant has a lot of customers for whom they produce reports, and working with these consultants may generate substantial revenue for us. We are also developing an ESG innovation hub. It's where fintech, green techs are bringing their ideas in ESG data management, and all these parties together think and considers how we can partner on different levels.
Thanks, Evgeny. Mark, I've now got a couple of questions for you. The first one is, can you describe some of the risks facing Hermesnet and how we're planning to overcome these?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Joshua. Another good question, of course, very topical one. In any business, obviously, inherent risk. The risks I see, basically two. I mean, there's probably a number more, but the two main ones are competition and execution risk. Competition has increased phenomenally over the last 2 years. I mean, exponentially. When we started out, we could tell, talking to people doing customer development, that there was hardly anyone out there addressing the problems that they're experiencing. Collection of data, integrating, automating. Now, a lot more has come on our radar. It varies in terms of size and depth and focus of our competitors. You have the very, let's say, but nice, genuine, basic, off-the-shelf solutions for the people, for the clients who want an immediate solution, answer to their problems of reporting. Then you go all the way down the chain, and I think people like ourselves, in a very nascent sort of market, we have developed. I'm not going to say a niche, because I think that we are wider ranging than just sort of describing ourselves as niche players. But we are approaching, as the market changes, the dynamics changes, it certainly changes the requirements. And we came across initially people who didn't know what to do. So two parts of our product are the tech and non-tech. When it comes to the clients, they're more discerning, they're more genuine, they want to be more transparent about their exposure to ESG and the way they report it. So in that fashion, basically, we have, while there's many what we could call competitors, there are only a few we would call direct competitors. And as the market moves forward, and this is just my thoughts, is that I mentioned the off-the-shelf solutions, provided by the big, we know the names, Salesforce, Microsoft, they offer it. But as regulation and as demands coming from different stakeholders dictate, that we may see some of these people who have opted for the easier solution further down the line, basically being required to transition to something a little bit more sophisticated in what we do, basically.
Thanks for that, Mark. One more question for you right now. We mentioned that we've completed a funding round previously, and that we're currently in the process of one for which we have some anchor investors. Could you describe a bit more about the investors who are backing Hermesnet?
I will do, and apologies. I had two risks. The other one was execution, and because I've lost my time slot on that one, I will be very brief. Of course, execution risk is just as important as the competition risk that we experience. Basically, it boils down to delivering what we promise. And what we have, because of the way we approach things, we're more sort of, we approach more of the complex clients, which entails more intricate solutions. We have the non-tech side, which is obviously Joshua, with the consulting side, to hold hands and to guide people and to identify the areas that they need to cover. But there's obviously the tech side as well. And I think that's been alluded to previously by Evgeny and also Yuri, but we have invested a lot of resources and time in putting together a solid, genuine, quality built team of programmers and technology people, some of whom that we have known for some time as well. So delivering what we promise is very important, not just on time and the product, but something that will last and is flexible as the market changes, that we can actually change that as well. Sorry about that, but the other question you mentioned is about the type of investor. Mostly, well, it's changed. Now we're going for Crowdcube again, retail. We did that last year. That was preceded immediately with a bunch of angel investors, family and friends who put enough money together before we hit the public platform of Crowdcube. And Crowdcube it's made up predominantly of retail investors. And this will be the same. The only difference this time is that we have a solid cornerstone investor for this round who's putting up 40% of the total amount, the rest coming from Crowdcube. But what is an interesting, I think, fact that came out of last year is Crowd's retail investors, they're only really, in the past, have only really been interested in products and companies that they could associate themselves with as consumers, whether it's craft beer, whether it's sort of, gym platforms or what there's comparison sites. Here we were a pure B2B. And I think that's a reflection on what the whole market, not just companies, not just advisors, not just consultants, but the public as a whole, are getting more information about the importance and the principles behind ESG and sustainability. And I think that speaks a lot and gives proof that our product is not just good to the people we're approaching for their requirements, but is gaining a big awareness with investors who are not as sophisticated as some of the other investors in the market.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for that. And thanks for going back to the other risk point there as well. The next question I'm going to allocate to myself, and it's got an ESG focus. So first part of it is, please, can you describe our GHG greenhouse gas reporting standards? And then secondary part to that is, how does that work for the municipal sector? So, well, our tool itself is sector agnostic. It's built around established best practice, established protocol, including CDP, so Carbon Disclosure Project, and the GHG protocol. We have experience working with organizations of many different types and sizes, and really our approach focuses on their data collection processes, and streamlining that and making it a whole lot simpler to get the reports that they're looking for. Our system enables a modular approach, so adding different locations, entities, etc., onto the platform to enable easy data collection, aggregation, management, and analysis. The dashboard functionality enables you to track specific KPIs. We can advise you on best practice for your sector, but generally, scope 1, 2, and 3 totals, how these are changing over time, your progress towards goals. But we can very easily create you something specific that provides information on whatever it is that you're looking for, with the GHG approach, but also with our wider ESG functionalities. One point to mention is it's very simple to change the conversion factors in the system if you want to include something specific. We use the UK government figures of standards, but we can swap in other conversion factors. And we also partner with other organizations who specialize in conversion factors. So currently we haven't launched our own extensive database of conversion factors, but we can support you with that now, and that feature will be added soon. Just on that municipal emissions part of the question. So we're ensuring that our calculator is in line with requirements of the GPC. So if you're not familiar with that, it's short for the Global Protocol for Community Scale Greenhouse Gas Emission Inventories. These are the global standards for how cities, towns, villages, any municipality can measure and manage their greenhouse gas emissions, both in that municipal government level and considering what's happening with private sector emissions within that municipal boundary, what's happening with transport, etc. Because with cities, just like any organization, when they know their footprint, they can begin to bring in policies to help reduce emissions. So say it basically works with any type of organization, and we're working with established best practice every step of the way. Next question around our technology. I'm going to ask you to take this one, Yuri. Please, can you explain the AI and blockchain features of Hermesnet?
Sure. Thanks, Josh. I think it's extremely important question because our aim is to help our customers to automate and enable them to free up time to to focus on actually value-added tasks, and this is where AI helps us, and it automates many of manual tasks. And also we help our customers to put that data on blockchain. Yeah, and I don't want to, let's say, overload your minds with a lot of technical details. Therefore, I want to just mention some of AI features as well as blockchain functionality. And let me probably start with AI. In terms of AI, we are working on AI-driven materiality assessment. Also, we're working on cross-framework AI-driven data mapping, enabling quick and effective cross-framework reporting. Another feature is AI-driven data analytics and sustainability robo-advice to enable building quick and effective carbon reduction, sustainability metrics improvement, score improvement, or other plans using AI advice. And there are some other interesting features which we are working on in terms of AI. In terms of blockchain, actually, in response to regulatory pressure and challenges in current practices, in particular, lack of trust of ESG data, problems with data reliability, data transparency, auditability, which enables organizations to engage in not fair practices such as greenwashing. Probably you heard a lot about this, and without fear or proper retribution. Yeah, and we utilize blockchain to solve these problems. And actually, we build blockchain-based databases solution. This solution solves the problem of data manipulation and falsification by enabling immutable trusted databases. In addition, blockchain inherently provides strong non-repudiation capability and secure audit trail. And our solution enables to onboard client onboarding, data verification process using zero knowledge proof, data storage process, and data computation process. And actually, once again, I don't want to overload your mind with a lot of technicalities. And if you're interested in details and technical reading, we're planning to update our white paper shortly. Actually, blockchain white paper will be updated one, will be published early in July, and AI white paper will be published later in August.
Thanks, Yuri. I just wanted to say, appreciate for everyone, all the audience members, that we've run slightly over time. So if you do have to drop off, see, that's totally fine. We have a few more questions to go. And as I said at the beginning, the recording will be shared online afterwards. So obviously, we'd love it if everyone can stay, but you'll be able to access this shortly. We've just got a few more pre-submitted questions to go through. Yuri, I'll ask you to begin on this one, but then I think we can all add some detail to it. Could you tell us about the experience of the team, how this has contributed to our growth so far, how it will continue to contribute to our growth going forward, and how that team's likely to evolve?
Yeah, sure, Josh. And I'll do it with great pleasure. And I want to start with my experience. As the CEO and co-founder of Hermesnet, I'm responsible for providing strategic leadership for the company, developing, managing, and implementing products, services, operational and strategic plans. I'm a member of CFA Institute and Chartered Institute for Securities and Investments, and my investment background greatly contributes to managing the cost and capital structure of Hermesnet, which is critical and very important in this in a particular company stage, because it's not a secret that managing finances and especially managing burn rate, it's a matter of existence for many startups. In April 2020, I was endorsed by Tech Nation, which is the UK government designated competent body, as a global talent in digital technology, and I'm applying my talents to build world-class products with Hermesnet. As I mentioned, we have already strengthened our sales team, EEG teams, and tech teams, and we will continue doing this. We plan to hire more salespeople to discover new markets such as Africa, Americas, and Middle Eastern markets. It will require regional ESG and sustainability expertise. Therefore, we're planning to hire more ESG experts. And all of these activities, of course, must be supported by technological support. And we're planning to hire more software engineers. And Josh, Evgeny, and Mark will tell you more about their departments and their and team members and their experiences.
Thanks, Yuri. I'll go first. In terms of our ESG and sustainability expertise, as I mentioned before, I spent my whole career, so over a dozen years in this space, and this involves consulting with global corporates on setting sustainability vision, data collection, reporting, and communications all around sustainability. I've also led ESG and sustainability work with a startup accelerator and set up a pioneering sustainability-focused, positive impact-driven investment fund in private markets. So I'm really excited to continue to build our team, the ESG team specifically, which I'm leading. As Yuri mentioned, this is going to happen as we continue to grow our customer base with specialists based in our key markets and on our key focus areas. We've already hired our first regulatory and compliance specialist, so Katia, my colleague, with whom I've been preparing our offering related to specific regulatory requirements, beginning with SFDR and CSRD, which are coming soon. That would include both the professional support services alongside our tech platform, enabling the easy capturing and reporting of data. We'll definitely be adding further greenhouse gas specialists to the team as we're seeing increased demand in this space, and it's only set to grow further because it's included in all the regulation, and companies are ever more looking to satisfy requests for scope 1, 2, and particularly more so scope 3 emissions. So the greenhouse gas team is going to be a key part of that as well. Evgeny, could you explain a bit more about your experience and the team that you're building? You're muted, Evgeny.
Thank you, Joshua. Well, my experience to date covers managing complex projects and organizations, especially leading companies from startup to growth stage. I led a number of projects where the firms were expanding geographically and grew holistically and organically. Well, I am contributing to the business development by bringing strong focus on business and strategic planning, and especially on holistic approach, which is a key element when it comes to companies which are on the similar growth stage like us. Well, what I saw in the past that early growth companies have a tendency of ignoring fundamental issues in strategic planning and management, which later on impact their business and especially their shareholder value. And that's exactly what Mark mentioned when he was explaining about removing execution risk by following proper strategic planning process. That's exactly how I contribute to Hermesnet value.
Thanks, Evgeny. Mark, over to you.
Learning to take it off mute first. There you go. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Evgeny. Okay, where I contribute, what I've done, as I mentioned, I've been with you at the beginning. One of the very first things we've done, and I think this is probably the biggest part I contribute, we had to go out into the marketplace, out of the building, customer discovery, basically, seeing what people wanted, seeing the problems they were encountering, or the things that they actually had to find problems for. I guess in a way, customer discovery is a continuous thing. Yes. The need for ESG reporting has become more prominent. Before it used to be, oh, it's a nice to have, it's not a must have. These days, the pendulum has shifted more to, yes, we do. So, where we are in our area of expertise, the more discerning, the more complicated solutions. So through my experience, 20 odd years, and counting in the emerging markets, investment banking, capital markets. I've come across so many companies that were listed that we covered as analysts, companies that I would private company, a whole array of people and companies that I can use my talents and my network. I still keep in touch with these people. A lot of them I do. If you don't know the right person, you know someone who does. So as we progress, as we develop our product and we're becoming more confident in how we execute it, then the market that we can participate in, that we can actually tap, is enormously huge. So on that one, obviously, I converse with my colleagues on business development, on product development, etc., trying to get best fit. Another area that I have been recently involved in is putting together Hermesnet's inaugural advisory board. We went through a lot of candidates. It's a 3-person advisory board. We have chosen the 3 have agreed. This will become public over the coming weeks, but it shows the caliber that people believe in us, basically, and the people we have that, when we publicize, I think that people will be impressed of the people who have agreed to be with us. They vetted us as much as we vetted them. It's a two-way street. So that's another, let's say, piece of evidence of the industry we're in, the people that we have guiding it and taking it forward, that we have confidence in ourselves. Importantly, just as importantly, we have people on the advisory board who have confidence in us as well as a team, basically, team players. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks a lot, Mark. We're on to the last 2 questions now. I'll take the next one. Try to make this clear in some of what we said, but to be pretty explicit about it. Who is your customer and what is your value proposition? I'll take the last bit first. Our value proposition, Hermesnet, we are an end-to-end ESG data management platform that essentially enables businesses to solve any issues related to ESG data collection management and compliance around regulations. So we focus on streamlining processes, making data collection and management more efficient, faster, requiring fewer resources for an organization, therefore at lower cost, and also enabling them to get greater value through analytics to inform decision-making, for example. We have 2 broad types of customer. One is the enterprise type of customer, as I like to call it. So really a business that is collecting ESG information on its own operations. This may be just because they want to, they're interested, or because someone else is making them do it. So for example, working with firms that have received investment, private equity, private debt, and their investors are requiring them to collect and report that information as part of the terms of the investment. The other type of customer is those that are collecting information about another company. So this could be that private equity house making the investment, for example, I just mentioned, and it would be working with them to streamline data collection, aggregation, and management across their whole portfolio, employing our tech to bring it all together and aggregate it at the fund or firm level. Another use case that we're seeing more and more of, again, this is for those working with collecting data for other organizations, is for those consultancies or advisory groups who are working with their clients on ESG matters. We provide them with a tool to professionalize their operations, create efficiencies, and therefore save them costs while creating greater value for their customers. Yuri, last question for you. Please, could you provide some insight into how we verify and validate the ESG data that companies provide?
Yeah, sure. Actually, it's a quite specific question, I think. And I think it could be quite technical, but I will try to make it simple to save a little bit of our audience time and also not overloading them with a lot of technical details. Actually, we enable 2 options. Option number 1, it's a manual. Actually, when you verify data, when you enable data verification by inviting a specific person who could be data verifier and enables them access to the submitted data, data logs, and data sources. You collaborate with them. We have all necessary tools to do this, and they verify your data, and then they sign off the data. And second option is what we are working on now, is an algorithmic and with a blockchain element, and as well as with a little bit of AI involved. And we are working on enabling algorithmic data cross verification with external databases, similar to, for example, you can see in financial services industry, when you do onboarding or KYC, you do cross checks of people and companies in different lists. Same approach, but more sophisticated and more complex in terms of technicality as well. And also to enable our customers to work with data and verify the data, we utilize zero knowledge proof to certify and verify ESG data. And as I mentioned, it's a quite technical question, and I don't want to overload your mind with this. Therefore, I once again repeat that we're going to publish our updated blockchain white paper earlier in July, and the whole process, second approach, will be explained in details here, and this will be published on our website. And if you're interested in technicalities of this, please feel free to read it and approach us with the particular questions. Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Yuri, and thanks everyone. So that's all the questions that we've had submitted. So we'll wrap up the webinar now. As I say, we've got a recording of this that we will be publishing online. If anyone wants to watch it again, we'll share it with your network. And we'll also have a summary published of written answers and responses. Yuri, can I hand over to you to bring this to a close?
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, everyone. As discussed, we are creating our own story. We believe in our choices and plans. We are proceeding determinedly, step by step, driven by our goals to build successful software as a service ESG global provider. We firmly believe that we have achieved what we have achieved, and what we will achieve will bring long and lasting value to those who work with us, and in particular our customers, our stakeholders, our shareholders, our investors, and everyone who work with us. I would like to take this opportunity to once again say thank you to Hermesnet team, all our investors and followers, all of you submitting questions for this webinar, and of course for your time. We would be delighted if you join us to help us to achieve our goals in our upcoming Crowdcube campaign. And if you want to do this and help us, please pre-register. The link will be distributed in follow-up email, as well as with recording of this webinar. Thank you very much. Have a good day, and speak to you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.